Revelation 2084. From the 23rd of September 1941. Salvation through serving in love. Must state and free will. Without serving activity no being can redeem itself. This applies to beings in bound as well as in free will. Servant activity is always the prerequisite for the attainment of the state which lets it become free of its outer form. And the more willingly the being submits to the serving activity, the faster it can change its external form until the last external form, the fleshly body of the human being, surrounds the soul. And now serving with love is again the task which the soul has to fulfill in order to also escape the last external form and to be able to enter the spiritual kingdom unencumbered. Service in love is the only thing that sets the soul free from its unfree state, and it is precisely this that people pay so little attention to. In their hustle and bustle they no longer find time for other people, they forget the real task, for they consider themselves too much the center of attention. And therefore they remain bound, for only service in love redeems. In the preliminary stages the beings are determined by divine will to be of service. They are in a certain state of compulsion so that they have to carry out the activity God has assigned to them. But as a human being the divine will is excluded insofar as he lets the human being think and act according to his will. And therefore he is not forced into a serving activity. Instead he has to be active in a serving way of his own free will. The impulse to do so must be present in the heart, thus love must be kindled in him, for only this impels him to be of service to his neighbor. Without love, however, he lacks the impulse, and then the human being does not fulfill his earthly task. And this is what ails the whole of humanity. Being lovingly active requires the greatest overcoming of oneself as long as the human being is not yet in love. But once the flame of love has been kindled in his heart he cannot help but be active in love, for love is strength, but strength can never remain inactive, it will always stimulate activity, thus it will want to express itself in a way which makes fellow human beings happy. And thus the human being serves the one he wants to please and thereby frees himself from his former guilt. When he wanted to rule in arrogance. Hence, being of service signifies a release from an endlessly endured bondage and at the same time makes the external form unnecessary, so that the soul can discard its last external form, for it has thereby proven that it has relinquished its former attitude against God. That it is no longer against God but has become love, thus it is of godlike will, consequently it has completely overcome the separation from God, thus it has become one with Him. Union with God means spiritualization, thus earthly deformation has now become unnecessary and all burden has been taken from the soul. However, union with God can only take place in love. The works of love bring about the approach to God, since God is present in every work of love. But anyone who has made the approach to God his goal already stands in love, for he desires to be united with Him because he loves God. And thus, he is also free from adversarial violence through desire. He has redeemed himself through love. Amen.